The Conservative peer told the House of Lords the transition deal agreed by the European Union on Monday is a gangplank into thin air unless the UK government can provide more clarity. Lord Bridges was just one of almost 190 peers who have requested to speak over the next 48 hours as the EU Withdrawal Bill is debated by the House of Lords. The former Brexit minister urged the government to solidify its position to avoid talks becoming meaningless waffle, risking giving the EU the initiative. He said, "My fear is that we will get meaningless waffle in a political declaration in October." PAL TV Getty Brexit News. Lord Bridges warns Theresa May about transitional deal dangers. The implantation period will not be a bridge to a clear destination. Lord Bridges: the implantation period will not be a bridge to a clear destination. It will be a gangplank into thin air. The EU will have the initiative in the second stage of the negotiations, and we shall find ourselves forced to accept a deal that gives us access to EU markets, but without UK politicians having a meaningful say over swathes of legislation and regulation. Some may say this outcome would not be the end of the world. Some may say it's inevitable. My point today is this: at this pivotal moment in our history, we must not indulge in the very British habit of just muddling through, with under 300 working days until we leave the European Union. We need to know the government's answers to these simple questions. European Union officials spent all of 2 minutes in Brussels agreeing on the terms to set Britain for the proposed transitional phase after the formal Brexit date. The European Commission's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier declared Britain must continue to follow the EU's rules while being excluded from the decision-making process. The transition period, also referred to as an implementation period, is seen as a way to minimize disruption for the UK as it leaves the EU. The period will end on December 31, 2020. But until then, all EU rules and regulations must be followed by the UK, according to Mr. Barnier. Britain will also be without the ability to implement its own international trade agreements without first seeking the permission of Brussels.